One of my subscribers has been asking me to rebuild the Denver Broncos, but with the new addition of Bo Nix. But if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like and or subscribe. Let's see if we can get 150 likes on this video. I would appreciate that. But as always, I'm never going to censor my opinion. I'm going to be real here. I'm not a fan of Bo Nix at all. He's clearly a day 2 quarterback that was taken within the top 15. I understand that QBs are high value positions, that a lot of teams will be desperate, reach on them. The Falcons going it with Michael Penix was the stupidest thing ever. I think Michael Penix is a great quarterback, but it's clear that he was a day 2 prospect. He was really old going into the draft, and now he's going to be what, like 28, 29 as a starter whenever Kirk Cousins' 4-year contract is up. That was a stupid move by the Falcons. But the Broncos, they trade away a bunch of picks for Russ, and at the time it looked like they wanted to go all in. Their team wasn't ready to go all in. They still had missing pieces on the offense, such as the offensive line at the time. At the time, I believe they only had Garrett Bowles. Then the rest of their offensive line was terrible. And then they went all in on Russ. Didn't work out. They went all in on his contract. Now they're accruing $80 million with the dead cap. They traded a first-round pick for Sean Payton. And I know some people would be like, oh, well, a coach is very important. Yeah, but am I willing to trade draft picks, draft capital for a coach, let alone a first-round pick? Absolutely not. There's plenty of good coaches in free agency right now. If they would have just waited, they could have potentially had Mike Vrabel as a coach, or even Pete Carroll, which, by the way, some people may say, oh, well, Sean Payton's a better coach than either of those guys. Who cares? At least you don't have to spend a first-round pick trying to acquire a coach and then accrue $80 million worth of dead cap on Russell Wilson, who, by the way, he obviously wasn't playing up to his trade value, nor was he playing up towards his contract. But was he a bad quarterback? No, he was giving solid stats to the Broncos. They go out, trade a first-round pick for Sean Payton, give Russell Wilson a crazy deal, trade away crazy value, and then after having no first-round picks, they go and draft Bo Nix, a day 2 quarterback, in round 1 because that's how desperate they were. There was no reason to necessarily cut Russell Wilson if you're going to accrue $80 million worth of dead cap just to draft a day 2 quarterback with a top 15 pick. That's crazy to me. Bo Nix is not, I don't think he's the guy. I'm not saying he will be the worst player in the world. I don't see the hype around him. It's just me personally. I know that's a long rip on Bo Nix. I'm not trying to personally rip him as a guy. Of course, as a player though, him and Michael Penix, I both love them as overall prospects. Do I love them as a day 1 guy? Absolutely not. That's just my 2 cents on them. This is what we got. I'm going to be trying to give Bo Nix a crazy career in Madden simulation. So in Madden simulation, he's usually cracked, I've seen from my past simulations. So I'm sure in this simulation, he's going to prove me wrong. But sometimes whenever you take over cracked teams like the Chiefs in Madden simulation, the team just does bad for no reason. But anyways, this is what we got for the team. Enough ripping on the draft picks and the thought process of whatever the hell the GMs are doing for the Broncos. Javonte Williams, great when healthy. Samaje Perine, sure, I guess. Courtland Sutton, extremely underrated contested catcher. I think he should realistically be at least an 88 overall. Dude was crazy last year. I think he is probably, arguably, the most underrated receiver in the NFL, if you want to argue that. Maybe some other receivers that come to mind if I sat down and think about it. Tim Patrick is injured every preseason, and then he's just out with an ACL tear for the rest of the season. Josh Reynolds was a decent signing. I'm going to put Marvin Mims at the 2 just because he has the hidden have. Tim Patrick, I don't know what I'm going to do with him. Is he like 29 now? Yeah, he's 29 here. He's 30 in real life, I believe. The O-line, getting Mike McGlinchey, it was an overpay, but it wasn't a bad signing overall. I mean, I guess they kind of had the money to do it. I mean, they will have the money to do it. Of course, the $80 million in dead cap, as always, doesn't help. But their offensive line used to be way worse a couple years ago, so it has improved. I'm going to start Dulcich here at the tight end. Then defensively, they were talking about trading Pat Surtain to move up in the draft, to draft J.J. McCarthy. Obviously, that didn't happen, but the fact that they were even considering that, I don't think it was a smokescreen at all. I think the Broncos organization was dumb enough to willingly trade away this year's first-round pick, next year's first-round pick, and Pat Surtain to move up to get J.J. McCarthy. They were actively trying to do that in the draft. It was stupid. Pat Surtain is arguably the best defensive back in the NFL. Some people say Sauce Gardner. Either way, he's a top 3 defensive back in the NFL. It's crazy that they were shopping this guy just to get a QB4 potentially in J.J. McCarthy. But anyways, they got Brandon Jones, Drew Sanders, of course. I think he's very underrated. in real life as well. I think he had actually a pretty good rookie year with the Broncos. And then for the defensive line, they traded for John Franklin Myers for a 6th-round pick. I think John Franklin Myers is a great defensive end, as what he profiles as technically, but I moved him inside to defensive tackle. I think he's pretty underrated. Getting him for only a 6th-round pick, I think that was a great move by the Broncos. Surprisingly, one of the few good moves they've had in recent years. But the rest of the team, honestly, other than Pat Surtain, John Franklin Myers, and Drew Sanders for the defense, not really surprised by. And then offensively, I like Courtland Sutton, I like Javonte Williams, but then past that, I feel like this team has a lot of rebuilding to do, so of course that's what I'm here to do. Long intro, but anyways, enough yapping from me. I'm sure I got plenty of dislikes for the intro. I don't give a shit. Let's move into the midseason mark. And as always, the Chiefs are dominating the division, 7-0, top of the division, but we are 4-3. Honestly, a lot better than I expected us to do. Our offensive passing game is doing great, so I guess Bo Nix is fitting in just fine in simulation, which is what I expected it to happen. And then defensively, we're 29th. My defensive passing game is 11th at least. The defensive rushing game, 26th. I guess that makes sense. Breakout defensive lineman, though, what do we have? Jonah Ellis, the rookie from the 3rd round, specifically. And then we got to get him star dev. He only has normal dev right now, but that's fine. For the scouting national focus, I think I might just stick with defensive line. Maybe I go middle linebacker. I think actually safeties are pretty important in simulation. I need a strong safety, so I'm just going to go with that for now. For the players ready to negotiate, I have a Jonas Griffith. I don't know who that is. I don't know who any of these extras are, of course, other than Pat Surtain, who they haven't quite paid yet. I think I will just accept his option. Usually I would just like to pay the players, but since this dude's already a 96 overall, probably going to be a 97, 98 by the end of the season, there's no point in just paying out his contract immediately because I'm already going to have to pay him a boatload regardless. But anyways, apart from that, we are 4-3. Let's move into the playoffs. But before we do that, we actually provide the Chiefs with an upset, their first ever loss of the season. They are 7-1 now. We have a breakout defensive player. What did we get for Jonah Ellis? Also, my defensive passing game just went from 11th to 21 within one game, and my defensive rushing game just magically improved. I don't know how that makes any sense. Roll out the red carpet, baby, because I have arrived. Did you see me out there, coach? I'm an anchor on this defense, man. He gets star dev. That's actually sick. I rarely see any of the dev upgrades during the season, but hey, providing the upset against a division rival who was undefeated the entire season, I guess Jonah Ellis really did ball out there. Looking at the player stats, how did we win this? Mahomes threw for 149 pass rating, 4 touchdowns, almost 400 yards, no interceptions, got sacked once. Bo Nix still did a solid job, but how did Mahomes lose this game? His defense lost him that game. How did the defense play for the Broncos for Jonah Ellis here? Where's Ellis? Am I stupid? He got 1 sack. Okay, that's all he needed to get his breakout. So he got 1 sack. He had 2 tackles. I mean, not a stellar game, but it's good enough to get star dev and against the division rival, providing the upset. That was clean. Now let's move into the playoffs. And this is the most Madden way to miss the playoffs. 9-8, 3rd in the division. The Chargers beat us after we beat the Raiders in Week 18, 25-21. 9-8, we missed the playoffs. My defensive passing game is suddenly top 10 again, and my defensive rushing game suddenly sucks again, but my defense being entirely bad isn't necessarily surprising. Stats and awards, Bo Nix looks like a top 10 QB other than his pass rating, 9th best offense in the NFL, 11th best defense, and we went 9-8. Oh my god, dude. I don't care about your touchdowns. I don't care about your yards. 26 interceptions. We just drafted Jameis Winston. What the hell? Javonte Williams, 9 touchdowns, 4.0 per carry, almost 1,100 yards. Nice season from him. Give him the ball more if Bo Nix is throwing 26 interceptions in a season. Courtland Sutton with 103 receptions, 1,400 yards, 15 touchdowns. Amazing year from him. He's going to get superstar dev. I bet he was just like every player, why not? 50-50 ball, Courtland Sutton. Marvin Mims with 14 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, 104 receptions. Superstar dev for him too. Greg Dulcich, my tight end with 800 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Reynolds, nothing crazy than Tim Patrick. He got 1 touchdown, 73 yards, I guess. Drew Sanders with 123 tackles for a loss, 18 for John Franklin Myers, sacks, 7 for John Franklin Myers, Baron Browning, and Zach Allen. Jonah Ellis with 17 tackles for a loss and 6.5 sacks and a dev upgrade halfway through the season. Nice rookie year from him. 4 interceptions for Pat Surtain, and then safeties on team, 1 for Jonah Ellis, and then defensive touchdowns is 0. So Defense, great job. Bo Nix, what are you doing, dude? And Jordan Love's second year starting with the Packers, he wins the Super Bowl as Christian Watson wins the Super Bowl MVP. The Ravens lose by 1 point. Unfortunate loss for Lamar. Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl MVP, and there are no awards here for the Broncos. In the AFC West, Calais Campbell, I guess, signed with the Chargers, and he retires on the Chargers too. For the team upgrades, Bo Nix, no upgrade, no surprise there. Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims both get superstar dev. That's to be expected. They both had an amazing year, especially with 26 interceptions. I mean, I guess it was just heaving it up every play. Drew Sanders goes up to superstar dev. Jonah Ellis got the star dev at the midseason mark, and then everyone else looks the same. So it's not bad. I just need my QB to stop throwing interceptions. A dev up would be nice eventually. He only has normal dev because that's all I gave him. Usually I'll give the rookies devs because if you guys didn't know, whenever you import these rosters, link in the description on how to get these, by the way. Whenever you import the rosters, they get random contracts and they all come with normal devs, so you kind of have to just give them what you feel is like necessary. For the players ready to negotiate, I'll just accept the option on Pat Surtain. Every one of these other extras can just walk. I only have 76 million right now. I should have 100 million in the next season if I don't do anything in free agency, but of course I'm going to try to make a move here. So this wasn't even really a good free agency class. Sure, the available guys are David Bakhtiari. I already have my franchise left tackle. I approached Amari Cooper. I actually gave him the most amount of money. He said no, he wanted to live in LA instead of Denver, so good for him, I guess. And then past that, didn't really have interest in Quandre Diggs. He's 31 years old. Got Steven Nelson on a 1-year deal. I know he's 31 as well, but again, it's only a 1-year deal. Then I got depth at strong safety just in case I don't fill that position in this upcoming draft. But for now, it wasn't a crazy free agency, but I guess it was a little bit of help for the defense. In the first round, picking up a strong safety, normal dev, which blows, but 91 speed is actually pretty good for a safety. 6'1", 202, normal dev, 86 acceleration, 89 agility, A awareness, A pursuit, B hit power. F finesse moves isn't the best, but I'm not expecting him to rush. He's a zone archetype. I'm still going to make him the starter. Hopefully he gets defensive rookie of the year or something. In round number 3, I'm getting a new center out of Oregon, 6'1", 306. We can just pretend this was Bo Nix's center, so 92 strength as a rookie is great. Hidden dev, A's across the board. He looks great. Now, this is the team after the draft. Derek Huntington out of Oregon, of course. We're pretending that's Bo Nix's former center in Oregon, but he's here in Denver now. Let's go team, but he's a 74 overall. The O-line definitely is shaping up really nicely. The receivers aren't bad either. I'm still going to put Reynolds over Tim Patrick just because Tim Patrick is 30 years old now in simulation. Bo Nix, please throw less interceptions, and Josh Reynolds, I'm going to move him into the slot. Once again, I'll put, why is Sanders coming off the edge? I do not want you coming off the edge despite what your overall is there. I'm still going to move him into sub linebacker, and then everything else does not look bad. Weathersby is a 75 overall with the boost, so it wasn't a crazy pick, but it's like, it looks like a position of need. It's someone I wanted. Hopefully he can get a dev though. So defense doesn't seem overall that bad. I would like to have an elite edge rusher. That'd be sick. I think every team would like to have an elite edge rusher. But anyways, apart from that, year number 2, let's move into the midseason mark. But before we do that, let's see if Andy Dalton, the mentor tag here, can help Bo Nix throw less interceptions. And suddenly we are 1-6, bottom of the division, as my team has not changed in really any way, but my defense is getting worse and worse by the second apparently, as it's completely what's holding the team down. I mean, realistically, I think what's happening is Bo Nix keeps throwing so many picks that it puts our defense in a bad position, and then it allows the other team to score other than, I guess, in yards. So maybe I'm completely wrong about that, but the fact that the Raiders are 5-1 and we're 1-6, it's crazy. And as always, I always try new playbooks, but I'm running the same thing as always. I'm not even going to show it at this point. We have a breakout receiver challenge. Who is this going to be? I'm disappointed, coach. I don't even know who you are because, again, this is a glitch that EA will never fix. But it's Cortland Sutton. I highly doubt he's getting 4 touchdowns or 200 yards in a game as much as I love him. He's not going to be able to do it. I don't think he's going to be able to do it against Minkah Fitzpatrick and the Pittsburgh Steelers defense either. For the scouting national focus, I think I'm just going to do middle linebacker here. For the players ready to negotiate, I have 102 million to spend now that that dead cap is off me. But Quinn Merez, team to have a franchise QB. I mean, it could happen at the end of the year. I don't think it will, but I'll wait on it. Javonte Williams, he wants to be close to home. I'm just going to pay him out his money because I kind of need him on this team. And then Baron Browning, it just depends what he does at the end of the year. He also wants the team to have a franchise QB. Tim Patrick, no. Ajay, no. Jonathan Cooper, no. Zach Wilson, no. Garrett Bowles, I wouldn't mind for another year, so I'm going to keep him until his contract, well, his overall goes down, so that way his contract can also move down with him. And then everyone else here, I'm not really interested in. Dang, even even Andy Dalton doesn't want to be here. But anyways, apart from that, let's see what we have for our breakout challenge. Coming off a loss to the Steelers, as we are 1-7, it looks like we're going to get like the #1 overall pick. I know what you're thinking. Sutton said he was going to have a big game. Yeah, I get it. But yeah, he didn't get it, as you can see. We are 1-7. The team is atrociously bad. Let's move into the playoffs. 4-13, bottom of the division. My defensive passing game with Pat Surtain is ranked the worst in the league. All right, EA. Stats and awards. Bo Nix looks great other than his passer rating. 4th best offense in the league. 30th best defense for no reason. Dude, I'm moving on. I know it's like, oh, it's early in his career. Dude, back-to-back seasons, 26 touchdowns. Then he said, oh, you think I can do better than 26 touchdowns? My bad. Let me do 27 interceptions. I mean, I've been saying touchdowns this entire time. Really? Like, it's crazy that he one-upped his interceptions from the previous season. QB of the future, day 1 starter tag, where are you getting this from? 27 interceptions is outrageously bad. Like, oh, I'm a Bo Nix believer. This is a Bo Nix rebuild. I don't give a shit. I'm rebuilding the Broncos, and Bo Nix happens to be in the rebuild. I'm not believing in Bo Nix. 27 interceptions is crazy. Javonte Williams, 9 touchdowns, 3.8 per carry, 1,000 yards. Not a crazy season, but it's whatever, I guess. Cortland Sutton with 111 receptions, 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns. Josh Reynolds, 17 touchdowns, 1,300 yards. I mean, at least these guys are eating, I guess. But, man, dude, 27 back-to-back seasons with 26 interceptions, then 27. I've never seen that in a simulation. That's so bad. I mean, I've done hundreds, over maybe 1,000 rebuilds in my time, boy. Oh, my God. I sound so old when I say that. I've done over 1,000 rebuilds, 27 interceptions, back-to-back seasons is a first for me. It's crazy. Drew Sanders, 120 tackles, tackles for a loss, 19 for Zach Allen, sacks, 11.5 for Jonah Ellis. He's a W, dude. 7 sacks for Baron Browning, 6.5 for Zach Allen, interceptions, 4 for Pat Surtain, safeties on the team, 0 defensive touchdowns is 0. And the Cowboys win the Super Bowl. Your Madden simulation gods. Who would have guessed? They win 24-14. Eric Kendricks wins the Super Bowl MVP. That's actually crazy. Lamar Jackson wins the league MVP, and there are no awards here for the Broncos. In the AFC West, our mentor retires, and he really didn't mentor anything. He mentored another interception on this dude's season. For the team upgrades, Cortland Sutton goes to X Factor, so good for him. Josh Reynolds goes to Star Dev. My O-line, Huntington, has Star Dev as well. Defensively, looking into the team, any other upgrades? Ellis, I'm going to argue superstar dev here. Let me look at his stats real quick. I mean, 15 tackles for a loss, 61 tackles, and 11.5 sacks. I'm going to argue superstar, but at the same time, if he gives me back-to-back double-digit sacks in a season, then I'll give him superstar dev for that. But for now, I'm just going to leave him at the star dev since the game didn't give it to him. In my strong safety, not getting star dev in his rookie year really blows for me, but I guess I'm just going to have to thug it out. For the team upgrades, yeah, we definitely didn't get a franchise QB. I'm about to pay my right guard $16 million a year to stay here. I mean, I have the money to do it. Baron Browning, he's not putting up bad numbers. $12 million a year isn't horrible for an edge rusher, but it's like, do I really want to do that? I mean, I could, or I could tag and trade him, but it's like, who am I going to get? I mean, I have all the money. There's no point not pay him. So I'm going to sign him Tim Patrick, Samaje, and everyone else here I'm just not interested in. So let's move into free agency with $73 million to spend. Are you serious, dude? I offered on Javon Holland with the most amount of money. Leagues that had me and the Commanders had the most amount of money. He was like, I want to live in LA. Looks like all the guys I offer on the most money, they're like, never mind. I offer on DJ Reed. I don't get him. And then instead I'm left with an alleged, you know, he was proven innocent, so I guess I shouldn't say that, but I'm left with the punt god, Matt Ariza. I'm sure he can save our franchise. Free agency just screwed me completely. So, sure, I also added Rocky Sin. I don't really know what that's going to do, but all the free agents are just turning down my team. Bo Nix sucks, and then past that, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, my team is not doing well. I guess this is the Denver Broncos for you ever since Peyton Manning retired. So let's move into the draft. So we have pick number 3 in the draft, and these are the QBs on the board. A QB isn't the number 1 guy, but I'm going to see which guy I like the best and then potentially move up. Okay, I'm just stupid with this guy's name, so I'm not going to be picking him. Nah. Anyways, he's out of Colorado. We could keep him local here. elite strength, great throw power, elite acceleration, very fast, B awareness. His accuracy is across the board, just A's. It looks really nice there. But Tucker, my boy, elite strength, elite throw power, poor acceleration. I mean, 4.8 isn't even that horrible for a QB. Henry Johnston here. I mean, after the Quentin Johnston situation, we got Henry Johnston. He's obviously not related if you can, like, you know, look at his profile. 6'5", 228 out of Utah. We got the Mormon boy. I'm sure he won't commit any crimes on our team, but Vince Meeks here, second or third rounder. I mean, the clear guy here is the guy that I can't even pronounce, but I don't even care because I'm sure I'm just looking at it stupid. My boy Artie here. Artie is going to ball out with us. He's out of Colorado. We're going to keep him local. I'm going to trade up for the #1 pick. Okay, I had to move a lot of picks for this. Bo Nix is going to the Seahawks. Oh, you gave up on him too early. No, I didn't. That is terrible. That is a horrible run. Zach Wilson was given up after 2 seasons, and he probably didn't have nearly as bad of a run in terms of interceptions. Sure, yards and touchdowns, why not? The interceptions is crazy, dude. Oh, your defense was the problem. My defense was constantly set up in poor positions because this dude kept throwing interceptions. But we swapped first-round picks. I gave them my this year's second-round pick, my this year's fourth-round pick, my this year's fifth-round pick, and my next year's third-round pick just to move up 2 spots. For those of you guys saying, oh, well, you gave up way too much to move up to #1 overall. I gave up just enough, all right? Artie, you got to revive the franchise in 2 seasons. You got to be the guy. Oh, great. Oh, my gosh. Normal dev, my favorite. We're back to square one. 92 throw power, 79 speed, 90 acceleration. A's across the board. He looks sick, but no. Normal dev. Thank you, EA. And in round number 3, getting right outside linebacker Floyd Godwin out of Clemson. 5'11", 228 hidden dev, 83 speed, 91 acceleration. Good moves across the board for a pass coverage archetype. He has FNS moves, F power moves, of course, but A injury, A awareness, and B hit power. So I'm trying to find a mentor here for my new QB. Usually I just sort them by age. You can sort by overall, but like as you can see here, there's no mentors. I mean, it's just bridge QBs. I can't find anyone. That's pretty annoying to not be able to just find a mentor in free agency, but I guess my new QB is just going to have to deal with it. But the guy's only a 73 overall without the boost. I gave up a lot of value to move up and get him, so I guess that's a Broncos thing to do. I'm sure a lot of people have already disliked the video since I moved on from Bo Nix. He was trash. If he performs that way in real life, he's not signing to another team with a starting role. He's signing to another team with a bridge QB role, which is what I gave the Seahawks. We're going to check up on him too. We're going to make sure that I'm right about this. And Godwin, you're a right outside linebacker. Play right outside linebacker. God, the AI is so frustrating to deal with sometimes. Please just, oh my God, I have to start cutting guys. Good. Now I can move Godwin to the right outside linebacker. Ellis hopefully continues to ball out. My D-line isn't horrible. It's just not the best, really. I guess I could have more depth. And then my defensive back group, other than Surtain, really nothing special here. I'm pretty sure Levi Wallace is only supposed to have a 1-year contract, but he's been here for a couple of years. And Weathersby, I'm going to move to the #1 again. Specialist, what do we have here? Sanders, you are not coming off the edge. I'm letting you know that now. And then I'm going to move Sanders to the sub linebacker. But apart from that, guys, hopefully the QB balls out. Maybe I'll tweak my defensive playbooks a little bit. 0-7, bottom of the division. This has to be the worst rebuild I've ever done. I'm like, I don't know how to fix this. My team is so bad. My QB, I can't draft a new QB in my final season. This dude's cooked. My team is cooked. It's over. This is a failed rebuild. I can't believe I'm saying that in year 3. I didn't think I would be this cooked in a rebuild. I've done a lot of rebuilds. I've done a few where they were just failures and I just didn't make the right moves. This is atrociously bad. The cap situation isn't even horrible. Pat Surtain, I'm going to pay him $23 million a year. That's fine. Cortland Sutton, he's giving us numbers. I'm going to keep him for the final 2 years of this atrocious rebuild. Brandon Jones, honestly, he doesn't even want to be here. I'm just going to let him hit. Greg Dulcich, I'm just going to overpay for this. He wants to have a mentor. I don't even care. I'm just going to skip past it. John Franklin Myers, sure, I'll just keep you for the rest of the rebuild. I didn't know he was $17 million. I should have not signed that contract. I'm making bad moves left and right. I will completely own up to this. When I'm wrong about something, I will own up to it. This was an atrociously bad rebuild, but is there a way that I could possibly pull this out in the next season? Either way, Garrett Bowles, I'm signing him for 1 more year. I have $82 million here. Cody Barton, I don't want back. He doesn't even want to be here. I don't see a way that I can just magically pull this out in the next season. I don't think I'll be able to trade for a QB, but it'll be crazy if I can somehow make a comeback. There's no way that my boy Artie here is 0-7 and it's completely his fault. The passing game is 12th, but we were doing better with Bo Nix offensively. I changed to the Seahawks defense, and that did nothing for me. I looked up on Reddit. Oh my god, I had a voice crack. I looked up on Reddit that the 4-6 Seattle defense is good. Evidently not. It's terrible from what I've seen. So what do I want to use here? You know what? Screw it. It's a 3-4 playbook. I don't care. I'm going to use New England's playbook. That's what I used to use in Madden 20 with a bunch of 4-3s, and it worked. So since EA copy and paste their game, maybe it works again. Let's move into the playoffs. You know what? This is better than a rebuild. 0-17. Like, I don't I'm trying to build a good team, and I actually just went 0-17, like non-intentionally. I think I'm cooked. I think I'm washed as a rebuilder. After going from successfully rebuilding the Colts in my previous rebuild to this, I don't even know what to do. Like, I'm 0-17. How do I possibly win the Super Bowl within the next season? This guy blows. He's so shit. 31st best offense. 31st best. Oh my gosh. I mean, the interceptions aren't as bad. Improvement. The passer rating is worse. Dude, this guy blows. He's so bad. Oh my gosh. I have to check how Bo Nix is doing. Dude, there's no way. There's no way Bo Nix. Oh, Vikk, you're so stupid for moving on. If this was a real team, nobody, he's also wearing Russell Wilson's number, nobody, and I mean nobody, is keeping Bo Nix on their team after having back-to-back 25-plus interception seasons. Nobody's keeping him on the team. I guess the Seahawks are just them, bro. I guess they're just them. Bo Nix balling on the Seahawks. But my boy Artie, you're going to have to make a complete, like, 180 this next season. Williams, 3.5 per carry. Wow. Cortland Sutton, 1,200 yards, 6 touchdowns. I don't even want to look at any of those stats. Floyd Godwin with 122 tackles for a loss, 15 for Baron Browning, and then sacks 10 for Jonah Ellis. He seems to be the only upside along with Pat Surtain throughout this entire rebuild. Levi Wallace with 2 interceptions, safety 0, defensive touchdowns is 0. And Patrick Mahomes wins another Super Bowl. Trent McDuffie wins the Super Bowl MVP. Lamar Jackson wins back-to-back league MVPs, and he wins the Offensive Player of the Year. Artie wins Rookie of the Year with 19 interceptions. Sure, dude. In the AFC West, nobody retires. For the team upgrades, for some reason, after throwing 19 picks, he deserves star dev. I don't know why that works, but sure, it does. Defensively, on the upgrades, Ellis, I said if he had back-to-back seasons of double-digit sacks, I'd give him superstar dev, and I'm going to stick to that. Godwin only has star dev. Brandon Jones gets superstar dev, and then everyone else here, it doesn't even matter. Weathersby is a lower overall than whenever he was drafted because of his morale. 84 overall team. Let's move into the re-signing. For the players ready to negotiate, sure, it's the final season. I'll just completely overpay and overextend Brandon Jones, Zach Allen. Sure, it's the final year. Why not just pay out money to players that don't even matter? Rock Ya-Sin, Josh Reynolds can walk. All these other guys can walk that don't even want to be here anyways. It's fine with me. Taylor Heineke, I guess we had as a mentor. I didn't even sign him. Well, I guess the AI signed him, and we actually had a mentor the whole time. Anyways, I'm losing my kicker as well. Let's move into free agency. So surprisingly, CJ Gardner-Johnson, we got him on a contract. I mean, not really. I mean, look at his contract. 6 years overpay for a dude that's 28 years old. Complete overpay. Darius Slay, overpay. Awuzie, sure, 1 year. Harrison Phillips, 1 year. And Jason Sanders, a 2-year deal for them. I mean, I don't know how we're going to make a comeback. At this point, I would just like to appear in the playoffs, if that's even a possibility. But sure, let's move into the draft. There's no way, dude. This is the most Broncos thing I've ever seen. We went 0-17, and we didn't get the first round pick. We had what did we do? Rock, paper, scissors to determine who was more dog shit. We didn't play the Saints all year, evidently, considering they're also 0-17. How does this happen? How did both teams go 0-17? I kid you not. I've never seen this before. Twice this has happened to me in the same video where I've never seen this. 0-17. 0-17. What does the PF grade mean? Points for? Oh, they scored significantly less points than us. So that's why they get the #1 pick. Okay, so for those of you guys saying, oh, you went 0-17, you built the worst team within a matter of 3 seasons. That joke's on you. I technically didn't. I don't know how this happens, but I guess, sure, it happened. We get the number 2 overall pick. And with the number 1 overall pick for the worst team in history, left tackle. Yeah, that's really going to make a difference with the team, guys. Oh my God. Let's just see what we get. Actually, I'm just going to trade this pick away logically. How the hell are the Niners $108 million in cap room? How does that happen? Seems like Tremaine Edmonds is the only affordable guy I can actually have here, so I'm going to swap number 1 picks. Well, not number 1 picks. Well, first round picks with the Bears if I can. Oh, they have pick number 4. They're almost equally as shit. Okay, so now I'm making a low IQ move here. I am swapping first round picks with the Bears. They had pick number 4. I had pick number 2. I'm moving 2 picks down. I'm also giving them my 2, my 4, and my 5, which is basically the rest of my draft capital just to get Tremaine Edmonds. And what will the Bears do with our pick and without Tremaine Edmonds? They're going to get Montgomery here, defensive end out of Washington, sure, I guess. And now I did it again. I just swapped first round picks with the Colts to get defensive tackle DeForest Buckner, so why not? And the Colts are going to select another defensive end. Okay, so now I'm giving up my first round pick and I'm swapping running backs for running back DeAndre Swift because Javonte Williams was giving me 3.5 average per carry. So hopefully this magically revives our team after I just made a series of the world's most unrealistic trades. I mean, they weren't the most like unfair trades, but like, of course, obviously this much motion wouldn't happen in one draft. I mean, the Broncos do a bunch of dumb shit in recent years, so I guess this isn't the worst thing to happen, especially after going 0-17 and receiving the 2nd overall pick in the draft. So anyways, let's just move into the team. Now, this is the team going into the 4th and final year. My boy Artie, you got to step up here. We got Troy Franklin, who I completely forgot about. He was such an underrated pick. I don't know why I just blanked on this. I love Troy Franklin in the draft. I just completely forgot about him throughout the entire rebuild. The most scuffed rebuild I have ever done throughout the entirety of this channel. My boy Artie got to pull through. Defensively, we actually look freaking baller, dude. We actually look so baller. I can't believe I just said the word freaking on camera, like willingly. But Sanders, you're not going to be an edge rusher, but I guess the AI wants it super badly. Troy Franklin, you're going to get a shot now. 86 overall team. I'm surprised Sean Payton hasn't been fired yet. I'm assuming it's because we traded a first round pick for him. Surprised the AI has not fired me. I don't even have coach firing off. But anyways, 4th and final year. Can we make the playoffs after being 0-17 and the 2nd worst team at being 0-17 in the previous year? My 0-17 team went 11-6 and took the division. Wow, my team is magically good. All right. Oh, it's because you traded for all those players, Vic. Artie did not change. I can guarantee you that. Maybe he's just a baller now. Maybe he did change, and I was like, no, he's just a baller now. All right, 12th best offense in the NFL. Defensively, 3rd is amazing. Best it's been the entire rebuild. What did Bo Nix do compared to this? Bo Nix is balling, dude. 33 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions. Was he just in the wrong scheme? Like, what have I been doing wrong? I'm sorry, Bo Nix. Bo Nix, come back. But my boy Artie, he's going to have to deal with this for now. 13 interceptions isn't as bad. Of course, I would like it to be better, but it's the final season, so what can you do? At least he has more passing yards than Bo Nix. Rushing-wise, DeAndre Swift, really not much of an improvement here over Javonte Williams. Cortland Sutton continues to be amazing throughout the rebuild. 108 receptions, 1,500 yards, 8 touchdowns. Troy Franklin, his first year getting a chance, 13 touchdowns, 1,100 yards, baller year for him. Defensively, Tremaine Edmonds with 120 tackles for a loss, 27 for DeForest Buckner sacks, 12 for DeForest Buckner, 8 for Baron Browning, 7.5 for Jonah Ellis, interceptions 4 for Pat Surtain, and then safeties on the team, 0 defensive touchdowns is 1 for CJ Gardner-Johnson. By some miracle, can we actually win a playoff game here with the 0-17 Broncos that have been revived somehow? Yeah, we do. 13-10, awful performance from my offense, but hey, only 10 points for my defense. That's a W. Made it to the divisional round. First time even in the playoffs. Let's just see if we can beat the Jaguars. Here we are against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're going to open up with 3. We're going to respond with a 3 now immediately. And if we continue to do nothing on offense, please score points or just get a field goal. Do something offense. I mean, we got a safety. The defense had to start scoring. 9-6. Run the ball. Do something. 16-13. Hold the ball. Please do not let them get far. Please just hold the ball. End game drive. I'm just going to run this game and finish it out. 3rd and 6. They used their timeouts on me, but it doesn't matter because I'm just going to lay down with DeAndre Swift, and that will be the game. They called me crazy. They called me a madman when I said that I could rebuild the 0-17 Broncos, who also happen to be the second worst 0-17 team in the league. And now we're moving on to the conference championship after being 0-17 in the previous season. By the way, I had absolutely no faith in this team. Here to face the 13-4 Baltimore Ravens in the conference championship. Can we make a miracle happen here? Here we are against the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to open up with 7. We're going to respond with 7. Surprisingly, my offense does that. 7-14, 13-14. I guess we missed the extra point. 20-21, 26-21. We missed the 2-point conversion. Again, 33-24. If we get the ball again, just hold the ball. Just run the ball. I mean, we're on the 1 now, so I think I'm just going to let the AI do it. Yeah, since we're on the 1, I'm just going to let the AI do it. Big field goal kick. How did you not get it from the 1? 36-24. That should be the game. It's going to be 36-31. I don't want to deal with the onside. I just want to receive the ball here. End game drive. I'm going to run out the clock and finish it here. I have no idea how my offense is playing this well. Please snap the ball finally. Thank you. DeAndre Swift. Get in field goal range at least for the team so that way we can make it a 2-score game, and we're also going to burn all their timeouts, of course. 2nd down and 3, right back to DeAndre Swift. Roquan Smith is right in the hole. That sounded awful. You know what I meant. 3rd and 2. 3rd down and 2, right back to DeAndre Swift here. Read that block perfectly. Up the middle. 1st and 10. I'm just going to take the knees and finish the game. And against all odds, the worst team ever in Super Bowl history here, the Denver Broncos with Sean Payton, are moving on to the Super Bowl after a miracle win to the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know how our offense actually put up that many points and our defense allowed that many. 5 touchdowns from my boy Artie. 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, perfect pass rating. My boy Artie, he is here. He is showing up for the playoffs. Perfect pass rating, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions from my boy Artie. Let's move on to the Super Bowl. And of course, we have to face the #1 threat in all of Madden simulation, the Dallas Cowboys and Dak Prescott. For the team upgrades, what do we have? Offensively, we are the exact same. Surprise my quarterback after putting up a 5-touchdown game against the Baltimore Ravens with a perfect pass rating. He doesn't get superstar dev for that or even a breakout challenge, which is crazy. But from what I can see, there are no other upgrades, well, no actual upgrades at all for the team, which is a bit surprising. 89 overall team after performing a miracle in this playoffs and somehow making it to the Super Bowl. Here to face the Dallas Cowboys. They're 1 overall lower than us, actually. So maybe we could actually win this. Here we are against the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to open up with nothing. We're going to respond with 7. Good start for the offense. 3-7 here. Defense is holding nicely. 17-3 start here. Defense is holding beautifully here against the Cowboys. 24-3 against the Madden Sim Gods, who are no more, against the worst Super Bowl champion in NFL history. What is this? I didn't even expect to make the playoffs with my QB situation with Artie. My boy Artie, don't sleep on him when he's in the playoffs. I got Nick Foles at quarterback, and I just won the Super Bowl after being 0-17. I'm still baffled how we were the 2nd worst team in the NFL after being 0-17, and my boy Artie is just pulling through here. Like, I don't know what to say. I mean, I guess it's a Cowboys thing for them to lose to the worst Super Bowl team ever, and Artie, not nearly as good of a game as the previous game, but he pulled through. Dak is actually the reason why the Cowboys lost. 3 interceptions, 58 passer rating is atrocious here. Not even a good game from either running back, but hey, you know what? A Super Bowl win is a Super Bowl win, and somehow I pulled through and made this a successful rebuild. I'm sure people probably clicked off the video after year 3. I somehow pulled it through. I don't even got to flex on y'all no more. Brandon Jones wins the Super Bowl MVP, and there are no other awards here for the Broncos. The dumbest rebuild I've ever done, and not only the dumbest rebuild, the most surprising rebuild. How did we seriously just go from 0-17 to winning the Super Bowl in the next year with the same quarterback who was doing terrible the entire time? So I guess moving on from Bo Nix was the right decision, because that one game from Artie against the Ravens pushed us in there, because our defense allowed 31 points against the Ravens. So the fact that we were able to push back against them with my boy Artie dropping 5 touchdowns to no interceptions, perfect pass pass rating in the AFC Championship is crazy. But anyways, guys, you guys have to like the video after that crazy comeback rebuild. Thank you guys all for watching, and whatever rebuild I have next, I'm sure I won't do as bad, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.